Okay, like I said, as to the type of typography which you have to use, it depends on what you're designing for, right? Give examples, for example, when you're designing logos, type of emotion of feel, right? Talk about
Yes.
elegant fonts, like can be like serif fonts or script fonts. Talk about sans serif, which are like general kind of which can be used anywhere. Sans serif font. Give examples as well.
Yeah.
Examples or sans serif fonts or display fonts as well, which have a bold feel, really bold feel, which is very good for maybe like sports, anything inspiration. Like so we gave some like use cases. These are not like fixed, right? They're not fixed.
Yeah.
It means you're free to like try to explore even more. But these are like some little guidelines which can help you when you're starting out. Right? Help you when you're starting out. So I would advise you to test all that. So I guess some fonts, for example, which I use. It's sure that you will not use like every font available on the internet. There's a lot of fonts. Right? Some
Yeah.
fonts which are like really good. I guess an example of fonts I use from like Montserrat, Poppins, uh, what else again? Helvetica, and yeah, there are well, a lot of other phones which are very good. They give you some sites where you can go and check out some of these phones. And also, like if you when you, for example, you go on Pinterest, for example, you check out the design which you like. You see the type of phone which you use. So yeah, I've already explained to you what the different variations, how font. So if you see a font, you can already identify that, okay, this font is a sans serif font, this is a serif font, this is maybe a display, or this are a script font, right? So if you're now going to like research to find the font which might maybe match the kind of the idea which you have, so you can already like have an idea, okay, of what you're searching for when you're going to decide to search for a a font. So for example, yeah, thing is about like exploring, about exploring, try to explore other options as well. And as per your question, which you said, if a company has their brand guidelines, you are meant to follow those brand guidelines. So, for example, if the brand guideline says you are to use, uh, um, for example, the impact font, or maybe the Times New Roman font, Times New Roman, means you have to use that Times New Roman font when designing for that brand. uh, have to use. Sometimes they might have also variations like two fonts. Usually, it's standard practice to use at most two, two different fonts now, or even a logo
So
on a
you,
flyer.
you
Mhm.
you try to use only two fonts on your whole design.
Not only two, not more than two. If you're going more than two, it should be three. But if you're using three, you have to know how to pay them. Right?
Okay.
If you're using three, sometimes for beginners, one or maximum two as a beginner. One maximum two. As you get more used to and get more your creativity expands in how to combine different things together more, you can go to theory as well, but it depends on how good you are at combining the forms together. But if not, you can limit yourself to one.
Okay.
To one. So some brands sometimes have like two phones, so you still have to use them together and use one. So avoid over complicating, right? Try to do more with less.
What of using the variation of the same fonts? Like you always see this the fonts, there's the regular, there's the italics, the bold.
So
If you
now,
use
if the brand guidelines have specifically said which variations to use, then you can follow that. But if they have not specifically said which variation, right,
yeah.
you can explore a different variation. You can explore
Okay.
different variations. For example, you can bold the text for emphasis or like heading, right? You want to really bold heading. Then the body, you can use a lighter one for the body, stuff like that. So yeah, you can use the variation. That one is very okay. Unless the situation where it was specified not to. That's when you're designing flyers. Yeah, that's when you're designing flyers and other flyers, brochures, and things like that. However, for a logo, right? If a logo was designed with a particular font, a particular variation of a font, it has to be maintained without variation. Let's just say that logo was designed with Times New Roman bold, right?
Yeah.
Bold Times New Roman. It has to be always bold Times New Roman. You cannot put that logo with a tiny Times New Roman. It's not a logo anymore. That's for logo specifically. But when it comes to flyers, okay, there's no problem. The logo specifically, it has to be exactly as it was designed. Hmm? So for flyers, you can vary it. So any other any other inquiry, any inquiry. Hmm?
For me, not so only it's only when I'll be trying out the interface that I'll get more problems and I'll get back to you.
Yeah. So far from the last design which you said till now, have you not designed anything?
The last design you sent us aside as that we should go back and do the Jessica issue.
The first flyer which you did, right? Yes.
Uh-huh.
Since that design till now, have you worked on something again?
Mm, I've worked on something again, but it was not. It never had to do with the assignment again.
Even if it doesn't have to do with the assignment, the point is to like share the design, get reviews, right? Even if it doesn't have to
Yeah,
do with assignment.
I did the launch. My brother asked me to make him a flyer for the launch of. He has a group reunion, this kind of group of ex
Mm.
students.
Yeah,
So
alumni.
I did him a flyer that had to do with. I just used the basic things I would be teaching in class. It was very easy.
Yeah. The
I don't.
flyers. Wait, no, as a designer, right?
Yeah,
The last person you're designing for is yourself.
the last person.
Yes, the last person you're designing for is yourself. So
Okay,
don't keep your designs to yourself. There's the audience first, there's the audience first, then there is the client, then there is you at the bottom. Nobody
yeah,
cares about you at the bottom there. That's where you are.
okay.
So don't keep them for yourself. You can share in the group. You can even share your statuses. People let people know that okay, you can design. Right? Somebody might see that design and be like, oh, I also need a flyer for my own alumni group. And you ask you, how much do you charge to do this thing? And they said, okay. Right? So that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
I, I don't. How, we have never reached that part where we talk about charging. We're not yet that good to it be.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You learn as you go. You learn
Okay,
while doing. Practice. You learn by practicing. You learn by practicing. You learn by practicing. You learn by practicing. You learn by
okay.
practicing. If somebody asks you, can you, before the person wants to finish your set, yes, already. Then you go and find out how to do it.
Okay. But
That's how you improve now by taking on a new challenge every time and delivering. Right? If you're taking a new challenge, make sure you're ready to deliver.
last class you talked about you gave a the basic structure of the Adobe Illustrator. I was
Mm.
thinking like it's from what we knew ever since it was so small. Like the interface is very large.
Yes,
Hmm? But what the features that you showed us are, it's like it was maybe using 1% of the Illustrator.
The features which are short.
No, last class I haven't yet watched the video of last class. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, there is more to it now. That's why I said we're going into Photoshop, I mean Illustrator. Just like we explored futures in futures of Photoshop, right?
Yeah.
So what we came into Illustrator, I gave you like a team with the iceberg, team with iceberg, the one which you needed specifically, the one which you needed specifically to start logo design because we started with logo design. So I showed you the one which you specifically needed to start logo designing.
Okay. Then it's for us to go and try out the rest.
That's why last class we explored other tools, right? We explored last class we explored other tools which we had not seen because we just explored the basic which you need in order to get into Photoshop. You know, we went deeper last class into more tools, right? What else can you do? Okay, this is how you can add the image, this is how you can do this and that. That's what and that's what we're going to continue doing today. We're going to explore the interface more. Because Illustrator is just also used for logo design, used for product design as well, brochures, booklets, and anything which you want to design can be used for that. Okay. So if you haven't watched the video for last class, I'll encourage you to go and check it out. Go and check it out.
Yeah, I watched that before Friday.
Mhm. Okay. So let's continue with our design journey. We're almost at the end, by the way. We're getting there. So if you've been following so far to here, then kudos to you for being persistent and not giving up. In the first class, there were more than 10 people, but 10 classes later, when we were two of us, then when we were two of us, then we crap. And that's just like this. Most people start and give up along the way. But those who stay to the end will definitely see the result.
Hoping to have a small big momentum.
It's small.
It's more like a small after the course, something like a small flyer that our mentor can help us to have the custom or something like that.
I didn't really understand.
A client to design a flyer for you.
Ah, the time come. After this, we have like I think three major concepts to cover again. So to cover those three major concepts, the next thing will just be your final design project. After cover those
Okay.
three major concepts which are still left to cover. The final thing will be to design your end of program project. End of program project to prove that okay, you've gone through the project commission, you've understood the theoretical and practical knowledge which was given. Most of it. So it involves like branding, so a mini branding right project. You do a mini branding project for business, a mini branding project. So you design the logo, you design the flyer and presentation. We'll get to that in time. That will surely be so I'll give you the introduction into the project you'll be doing surely next week and the week after next we're surely going to present it. to mark the end of your program and graphic design. Hmm. So here we are in Illustrator. So like I said before, shapes to add shapes in the same way, just like in Photoshop. So if I click on the shape tool here, you see different variations. For example, the rectangle position click, and I'm sure I've seen this 1,000 times already. You can add color by coming to the search panel here. Here in front is the fill color, while the back is the show color. So for the fill color, you can select your colors here. Or if you want the color picker tool to appear, you can double click here. You double click here, the color picker tool appears where you can control the selection of colors. We already explained here the color picker tool in Photoshop. The same thing in Illustrator. You choose a color, you can press on OK. And so you have it. At the back here is your stroke color, like outline here. So right now it's set to black. You can change it, for example, to orange. So I can go select it.
Can you give a you can give a no field color?
Yes. So for example, this is our field, right? When you have a no fill color, here is it none. That's what happens. Same thing for the outline as well. You selected one outline to have no color. Okay, none. So now our shape is transparent. Nothing, no fill, no outline, but it's still there. See, it's still there, just that we can't see it. So if I highlight this empty space, see, the anchor point appear, and I can simply put back the color on the outline. So where is it? So when you see this shape has a stroke, right? The stroke. So how do I now increase the size of the stroke? By coming here to this stroke panel here. I drop it down of the options. So I put to 10 like this. And if I click on it, this round circle appear. And this round circle, if I click and drag, can round the edges like this. Let's say I wanted to round a particular edge, just one edge, right? Not every edge. So now, instead of using now the selection tool, I'll use the rather the direct selection tool, this one. So the direct selection tool, I'll come and click on any anchor point at an edge, then using it. You have to get an edge. It's an edge now. It's an edge. So click on the anchor point here. So what happens now? Only the circular appears, the other ones not appear. So now I can round only this border here. You see, to form a shape like this. So I can click on these ones as well. To select multiple anchor points at the same time, I can between man the shift key and click second anchor point as well, like this. And I can click here and round them together like this. So there you have it. You can also change this color to this outline to the front. Let's put the okay, put the fill color as this. So here as well, you can change the fill color here and the stroke color here on this panel as well. If I double click on this color here, the color picker tool appears, and I can shift my color to like this, a lighter color. This is our shift. If you want to duplicate, you maintain your hand on the Alt button, so the cursor changes, you can click and drag, and you can duplicate it. You can duplicate many items as well by highlighting all of them and duplicating all of them as well at once. So there you have it. If you want to align items together, you can highlight them like this, and this panel up here will appear. Editing alignment options. You align them what horizontal left like this. Here, align in the middle, here to the left, here at the top, here at the bottom, here basically align. This one here, we basically distribute them. Let me separate them so you can see how it works. So we have this as little right. This is center align. This is vertically distribute. I say distributed them from the top here to the bottom. So we made them to have an even spacing among different elements. Vertical distribute center, almost the same thing, but it distribute from the center element, right? It distribute all elements starting from the center and then starting from the bottom. The horizontal distribute, the distribution from this one here, horizontal distribute center, and horizontal distribute left. Once you want to align them, I'll click on this one, bring them center, and then that all align to the center, like this. So now, let me show you some other tools. When I click on this, right, when I click on this, and I click on it, one, see the anchor point appear, and I right click. Some other options appear here, right? Some other app options appear here. So let's look at the transform. Yes. When you come to transform panel, you see here move, rotate, reflect, scale, share, right? So for to move, you can just simply move it with your move tool here. It's not a problem. So if I allow like rotate, to rotate, I click on this here and I come at the edge, I can click and rotate it like this. On transform, you have reflect as well. This panel here appears and you can reflect it horizontally. You see, look at the difference. Vertical. I see how it changes with horizontal reflection and vertical reflection. So vertical reflection switches between left and the right, right? And horizontal between up and down. Are you seeing? You can also switch the angle like this and reflect. Change the angle like this and reflect it. So once you're done, you can create OK, and there you have it. Your object has been reflected. Another tool which you have as well is on the transform is the scale. Right. So you can scale it uniformly. You increase it here to scale or uniformly, horizontally and vertically. So this one you can simply do it also as well with your move tool by scaling here like this with the anchor point, clicking and try going to scale in the anchor point. Or you turn your hand on shift key and scaling uniformly by putting your hand on the shift key. And then you have the shear. To the shear, you can see the angle that's being distorted. Right. You can also manually shear it by using your direct selection tool. Clicking on the anchor point, for example here, you click on it and then drag it like this. This is shearing. So what other tools, you have also the arrange, right? With the arrange feature, you can bring an element to the front or to the back. Remember we have layers, right? If you come to this panel here, you will see our layers. Our layers here, this panel is our layers. As I explained before, you can create multiple layers by clicking on this button here, multiple layers. And the advantage here is that each layer contains sub layers. The sublayers contain every single, so a layer is grouped into sublayer, and a sublayer contains every single thing you've done, right, on that layer. Every single thing you've done. For example, added four rectangles on this layer, and you can see the four rectangles right here. So if I use, for example, my brush tool and I come and draw something here, our tool, let me change the color to black. Our small cat here. So it's that every stroke, right, appears as a new layer. It was my first stroke here. That's a new layer. My other stroke here. That's a new layer, new layer, new layer, or new sub layer rather. New sub layer. So after doing this, I can now come and now highlight all of it like this. I click on it and, for example, group it. I can now move all of these sub layers as one. See, they've been grouped here. See, that is my cat. I can also go to objects and expand the appearance and change the color to like my green cat. Basically, I want to show you how every single element which you add appears as a new sub layer in Illustrator. It gives you more control, right? It gives you more control over every single element which you add here on Illustrator. So this button here is a button to add a new layer, and this one here creates a new sub layer. This is a new sub layer, and this sub layer I can as well do something. So this I've added this text on this new sub layer, right? If I enter the new sub layer, see, that will be another something here. In fact, now everything is added on this sub layer here, right? Then I click on this layer here. If I add something now, it will be added as a new sub layer of layer one. However, if I'm on this layer here, on this sub layer here, and I add something which I created, added now as a sub layer of the sub layer. So that's how you can modularize your design, adding, giving you more control over every single element, over every single aspect of it. So previously we saw how to use the move and the direct selection tool, the pen tool as well. This is also a version of the pen tool, the shape tool, the brush tool. The last time I told you that we have different variations of the brush tool as well. When you come here, come up here, right? When you come here and go to brush libraries menu, you can see the other brush variations which you can use. You can even download brushes online for photo or for Illustrator as well as Photoshop. So what else? Which other tool let me see? Rotate tool, eraser tool, some this gradient tool, some this as well. The eyedropper tool is the same as in Photoshop. It permits you to get the color of any element. So let's say I create, okay, this is this shape here, and I want to have the same color as this. I can use a color picker tool and click, and the shape is automatically copied. However, another way you could use this color picker tool is to copy text as well. Copy the fonts right on the text. For example, I write this text here. Let me increase the size to 48. I'll type okay, my fonts. And I create a new text here. Create a new text here. And this font. So now let me change this one to mermaid. The mermaid font. Increase the size to 72. Right. So now, what if I want this text here to have now the same font and size as this? I can simply click on this font here, select my color picker tool here, and come and click here. See what happens. Now it has the same size and the same font type as this font here. So in Illustrator, the color picker tool is not just used to copy the color, but also copy the font in Illustrator, which is a variation from Photoshop. A variation from Photoshop. So one other thing is, what other thing is there which we have another important thing? Let's see, appearance. So appearance are some of the settings. On the appearance section here, you can see some of the settings which we have seen, such as the fill, the opacity, the stroke. On the transparency panel, you can control the opacity of an object. For example, this circle here. I come to the transparency, I can reduce the transparency, for example, to this. And you also have blend modes. Oh, I forgot to show you blend modes. No, we did blend modes in. Did you do blend? Did you see blend modes in Photoshop?
You showed us the blend mode in Photoshop earlier,
Okay,
but
let me
not in
show.
Illustrator.
Okay, so Illustrator has blend modes as well. Blend modes as well. Yes, blend modes as well. Hmm. So these are like the key. Okay, another thing which I haven't shown you is the. Okay, let me okay. I have this text, for example. I have this one as well. Let me increase the size here. Increase the font type. I showed you guys text boxes and normal text in Photoshop, right? The same thing applies for Illustrator. You can create this text here and also text boxes, which are good for uh, longer paragraph content, right? And these ones are good for title content. So you also have text editing tools here. So for example, if you go on your Windows panel here and you go to character, search for character, mm, character, or paragraph, anyone you can see first, or type. Okay, let's look for type. This type here, so you can see so all the type settings here. So for example, character. When I choose the character, for example, I can also come here and change my font type here, change the variation, increase the size, and this one important aspect here, which is the okay, let me do it here. The spacing, right? See, if I increase the spacing, this is the line height. I see as I'm increasing it, it's more spaced out, and if I reduce it, it's less spaced out. Here. And here, the distance between each letter, this one here. So if I increase it, the distance between the letters is also increasing. So for example, on this one here, if I increase it, so you see how the spacing between the letters is increasing. These are just small tweaks you can add. We also have the paragraph tool, right? The paragraph tool is good for this paragraph text. Use a text box, paragraph text. You can change the paragraph orientation. Is it left, right? left, center, right, block, block left, block center, or block right, or full block. You can change this paragraph settings just like you can do in Word as well. You can add indentation, add indentation, and add paragraph indentation, and so these are some settings you can add. This left indentation as well, indentation. These are the two most important things you have to know about the type, right? About the type. In the last class, I also showed you how to add a gradient to a shape and also to a font. We've seen how to trace almost anything, and I've told you to practice using the pen tool to trace because it will be very handy for you in Illustrator. We've seen the Pathfinder tool, the Pathfinder, which you can use to create amazing shapes, custom made shapes.
What of the
Um,
you're talking about the blend tone? Why did you?
okay, the blend tool has to do mostly with when you add an image. So if you're seeing the blend tool in Photoshop, and it is the exact same thing in Illustrator. It's not anything different. Mm, okay, let me just, for example, the picture of this boy we should download in our very first lessons. So let me resize it. So now, if I add a blend tool on this one, this one normal, right? Let me change, for example, to background. You see how he has blended with the shape background which was behind it, right? So now multiply, for example. So this shape, right, it was behind the image. I've now reduced the opacity of this. I have not reduced the opacity of this image.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with the arrange feature, you can put an element to the front or to the back, right? The arrange the front or to the back of your layers, right? So for example, where is this? My mouse is tripping. Okay, so that is it. So let me add a blending mode here, for example, lighting. So are you seeing, for example, with this, okay, when this one is colored, or let me add a color also, for example, blue, a more visible color. Let me, if I click on this image and send it to the front. So this, for example, this is lighting. I see this color is at the background, right? At the background. So when I apply a blending mode on my image lighting, it looks like this effect, right? So you can check it out. So you have screen. You have screen appears, you have color dots. And you can do the same thing on Photoshop as well. Overlay. So this is how you can use this to add some like effects on your image. So this is highlight. darken, multiply. Oh, one way, right, which you can use multiply, one way you can use multiply is if you have an image which has a white background, right, and you want this image to blend in another background, you can use this multiply here to make it blend to the other background. I don't know if I can use it a white background here so you could see it. Okay, this for example. Okay, want this for example. So this image here has a white background, right? You could go on Photoshop and remove the background. But if you are lazy, what you could also do is this. So if we use blend mode here and we choose multiply, so now you see that when choosing multiply, the white background does not show on the underlying layer. You see now, whereas it is still there, it's still there, but it only shows the underlying layer when you use multiply. That's what multiply can do. There's also
Um,
different blend modes. Yeah, is that a question?
what? I'm not. How did you multiply? Do that shadow effect of the bottles?
The image was already like that. This is
Oh,
an image. I've not added any shadow effect. This is an image, right?
okay, okay.
So you
So
want to
when
add
you
it if you want to add like shadow effect right here, go to the effects panel. Effects panel, go to stylize, add a drop shadow. And just like in Photoshop, you can control the opacity and control the X offset as well as the Y offset as well as the blur. Use opacity for example. And you can create this effect which looks as though this rectangle was hovering above the canvas. As though there was
well,
some light, as though there was some spacing between the the shape and the canvas.
please come back with that blend mode. It's tricky. I'm not getting it.
The blend mode is easy, right? Just select your image, or for example, your shape.
It has
For
to
example,
deal
this
only with
image here.
images and shapes.
No, with anything,
Okay.
literally anything, you can blend anything. Even this part here, you can use it. Apply a blending mode on it. And apply a blending mode on it. Let's say multiply. And apply a blending mode on it. And see, for example, paired with this image here, the color doesn't really look the same, right? You can apply blending mode on literally anything. Literally anything. So I think with this will seem like the most important things which has to be seen in Illustrator with these past two lessons in the interface. So the most important thing. But what I would encourage you guys is to not limit yourself just to what we say here. You can also go online and check other videos. You might find out something which might have not been said here because the course is limited, right? There is an infinite number of things which you can do. However, we can only cover so much. We can only cover so much. So do not limit yourself. Go online as well and look for the resources. Practice also. While practicing, you will discover something new which you had not even seen, or maybe which you might not have covered. Okay, with our program. You only found out you're lacking something when you want to do something, I don't know how to do it. That's when you realize, okay, I'm lacking the knowledge on how to do this. Then you can, for example, ask me how can I do this? You can share with me personally, you can share in the group, or you can even go online, watch some tutorials on other platforms as well. On any platform.
Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi. Mom. Ça va.
Ba da anche parler dans ton. Hello. Voilà. Ba idan ka parler dans ton micro là-bas. Okay, I was briefly disconnected. I was briefly disconnected. So that was that. On next lesson on Friday, we're going to dive deep into color theory. Monday's program will be diving deep into color theory. We'll be exploring the principles and the ins and outs of color theory. The ins and outs of color theory, mastering color theory. Because now, as in the design, one of the most important and key components for design is color. Is color. If you can get the design right, if you miss the color, then you're cutting the design all wrong. So we'll see how to combine colors, how to choose colors, and some tools which you can use in order to match colors effectively. Right? If you're not really creative oriented, you can use online tools to match colors or generate color palettes. We'll see what the color palette is as well. Okay, okay. So we have reached the end of our lesson for today. We have reached the end of our lesson. So thank you all for joining. Thank you so much for joining. And if you have any questions, if you have any questions, you can ask.